All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome in. My name is Alexis Miller, and I'll be your yoga instructor today. So, this is part of the full body awareness series, and it's the final Hatha yoga class that is related to the third eye chakra. So, that space right in the middle of your forehead. This class is part of that mini series of 4 practices that are all tied into the third eye chakra. And you can get that full series on my channel at Wild Blue Yonder Media on YouTube. So, as we get into our practice today, keep in mind your boundaries. Notice where you're ready to extend into postures, where do you need to modify and come down to the mat, or perhaps find a center posture. Also, keep in mind, I don't often cue water. So, if and when you feel thirsty, of course, please feel free to step off your mat, grab that drink, and join us whenever you feel ready. So, with all that being said, let's go ahead and find a comfortable seat. Your legs can be crossed, they can be straight out in front of you. We're going to wiggle back and forth to root into the sits bones, and then we'll sit up nice and tall. Let's inhale as we draw our shoulders forward and up, and then exhale as we drop them back and down. One more time, inhale, shoulders forward and up. Exhale them back and down. Finding a comfortable spot for your hands, whether on your knees, palms up or down, or in your lap. You can close the eyes if you'd like, or just find an unmoving point and soften your gaze here. In the yogic tradition, there are 7 chakras known as the organizing centers for reception, assimilation, and transmission of life energies. The third eye chakra is where we come to refine our awareness even further in order to develop clear seeing. This ability to see clearly without becoming muddled by the material world and the ego allows us to understand the inherent relationships between all things. When we clearly see the world as whole rather than a sum of its many parts, we detach even further from the ego and its perceptions created in the mind around separateness. Doing so brings us even deeper into experiencing our true nature. This felt experience brings us to the realization that there's nothing more potent and meaningful than to love and have compassion for others. I invite you to use today's practice as inquiry. Can you begin to see how everything around you is in some type of relationship? What will allow you to perceive things as they are, rather than how you want them to be or how they seem to be? So settling in, taking a deep inhale through the nose, filling the belly, lungs, and chest with air. And then slowly exhale that breath back out. Take another deep inhale, fill the belly, lungs, and chest with air. Then slowly exhale the breath back out. Take another deep inhale as you fill the belly full of air, feeling that belly button press away from the body. And then exhale as you draw that belly button in toward your spine. Inhale, you feel the torso expand and your collarbones gently lift. And then exhale as you feel your shoulders release down and away from your ears. Inhaling air in your nose, down your throat, filling your lungs. Then exhale as you squeeze that air out of your lungs. Move it up your throat and out your nose. Continue to breathe here, inhaling and exhaling with intention, really noticing the movements of your breath. Now, if your mind gets caught up with thoughts, noises, physical sensations, it's okay. Notice the moment you've gone away and then turn your attention back to the breath, back to the inhales and the exhales. Now, if it feels right for you, perhaps incorporating a mantra to help you stay grounded and focused on your breath here. Inhale, I see life. Exhale for what it is. Inhale, I see life. Exhale for what it is. Remaining here with your breath in whatever way best supports you for just a few more moments today. Take another deep inhale here as you set an intention or a purpose for your practice today, which really can be anything at all, but it often answers the question, why did I get on my mat? Take a nice deep inhale here. Feel the intention with your heart and mind. And then exhale the breath out. Set the intention off to the side, knowing we'll return to it toward the end of our practice. Lovely. Let's go ahead and come down into a child's pose here. So sinking the hips back onto the heels, elongating the arms, forehead coming down to the mat, the floor. If it doesn't reach, you can always stack your forearms or your fists, or you can even use a prop like a block to rest that forehead down. And we're starting off this practice here to gently wake up that third eye space. So we're going to gently roll our forehead from side to side here, just finding a little bit of movement and starting to stimulate that third eye chakra space here, that space of seeing, of intuition. It's also a nice way just to relieve any tension that may be sitting in the forehead there. And we're also releasing the neck here, starting to open up the hips. Great. Then coming into stillness here. On the next inhale, go ahead and come forward onto the forearms here, making sure your props are out of the way. And then we're going to tuck the toes on the next inhale and then lift the hips coming into dolphin pose. Now, if this is inaccessible for you, you can always stay down and sink into puppy pose instead, resting that forehead down again, stimulating that third eye chakra space. Now, if you're in dolphin pose, we're on the forearms instead of the hands like down dog. This may be pretty intense for the back of the legs. Let's go ahead and walk that dog, bending one or dolphin, bending one knee and then the other, maybe one fin and then the other, I should say, opening up the backs of the legs here. Taking a nice deep inhale. And then exhale, come into stillness here. So instead of looking up between the hands, shrug the shoulders down into the back, press into the forearms, moving the chest toward the thighs, and then notice how that third eye space reaches down toward the mat. Maybe it touches. Heels reach toward the floor, even if they don't touch. Really feel that nice pull from the Achilles all the way up into the hips, through the back of the legs here. Good. Feel that lifting through the abdomen. Couple deep breaths here. Fingers are spread wide. Those forearms and hands are engaged with the mat really intentionally here. Feeling all those muscles in the arms go to work. Continue to press into the mat, moving the chest toward the thighs. Good. Inhale. Let's go ahead. Drop those knees down. Come on, sink back onto the heels here, and then go ahead and shake out those arms. That was a lot of work. Great job. And then hands come beneath the shoulders, tuck the toes, lift the hips, coming up into your down dog. Should feel a little bit easier on the arms now. On the next inhale, look up between the hands. Go ahead and step your right foot forward here. Turn that back heel down at about a 45-degree angle. And then inhale, sweep up the arms. Go ahead and lift the torso. So we're getting ready for humble warrior here. So front knees bent in line with the foot, in line with the ankle. Hands can either be on the hip, or for the full expression, we take our hands and interlace them behind our back here, and they rest along the glutes. Now, we're going to inhale, lengthen through the spine, and then exhale, bring that shoulder to the inside of the knee as you tip down into humble warrior. So tuck the chin, look back between the legs here, kind of at that diagonal, back corner of your mat. Now we're sinking into that front knee. Woo, we're feeling the work through the inside of that front leg. Both knees are bent here, back one slightly. We're not locking out joints. Now you can either stay here or to deepen that stretch in the legs as well as through the back and the shoulders. We inhale, lift those arms up off the back as far as you're able. Really dipping the head down toward the floor, taking a couple nice deep breaths here. One more deep inhale. Good. And then inhale, go ahead, sweep those arms or torso up. Go ahead and turn your toes so they're facing that same side of the mat here. Great work. We're coming into a wide-legged forward fold. So feet are wider than our hips, kind of in a wide stance, but play around with it. You're going to know what feels right for your body. We're going to inhale, lengthen the spine, hands on the hips. Exhale, hinge at the hips, lean forward with the heart center, coming into this wide-legged forward fold. Now, hands can remain on hips. You can have them on your shins, down on the mat. You can always use a handy prop like a block here if that's supportive for you. Now, as you sink forward, tuck the chin so you're nice and long through the spine here. Your chin doesn't need to touch your chest, but instead, you're just trying to get to that space where you feel that length through the neck. Think about rotating your hips back and up so you feel that nice pull through the back of the legs here. And again, we're in another inversion here. So breathing nice and deep, noticing on the exhales if you can sink a little bit deeper into the posture. If not, that's okay. But noticing where the body wants to take you. Couple deep breaths here. One more deep inhale. Good. Exhale that breath out. On the next inhale, plant the hands. Go ahead and engage the core and lift the torso all the way up back into standing. Great. We're going to rotate now toward the back of the mat. So rotate that left foot so it's now pointing toward the back of the mat or the top of the mat here. And adjust that back foot so it's at about a 45-degree angle, making sure you don't fall over here. All right. We're going to inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, sink down into that nice warrior stance here. So that front knee's bent in line with the foot, in line with the ankle. Hands can remain on the hips, or we're going to interlace those fingers behind us, rest them along the glutes to start. Inhale, lengthen us through the spine. And then exhale, we hinge at the hips, come forward into this nice, humble warrior position, opposite side. So again, we're sinking down here. We're feeling that work in the legs. Back knee is slightly bent. We don't want to lock out any joints here. And then again, you can remain here or inhale, lift those arms up off the back as far as you're able. That's going to deepen that whole stretch, lengthening the spine and getting into the shoulders and the chest here. So notice where you are and then breathe deeply. Good. Inhale, go ahead. Lift the torso, engage the core, come back on up into center. Great. We're going to rotate back toward the top of the mat here. And then windmill those arms down here. Tuck that back to, or bring the back foot up onto the toes, and then step back into your down dog. Hips are high. Really nice work here. Let's go ahead and take a nice deep inhale. And then exhale, go ahead, come into your plank. Core is engaged. Your one long line from your shoulders to your heels. Take a nice deep inhale. And then exhale, bend at the elbows. Let's lower all the way down to the mat and untuck the toes. Great work. So now we're going to make our way into our locust pose here. So a couple options. You can start by resting your forehead down onto the mat and bringing those hands to the sides. Palms are down on the mat. So let's go ahead and start with our first option. So you can inhale, lift the torso and the arms. Chin is still tucked, looking down at the mat right in front of you here. And this is your first version of locust. Let's go ahead and exhale back down. On the following inhale, go ahead and lift your legs up, pressing your pelvis and those hip bones into the mat. You can come into this posture instead, gently pressing those hands into the mat. Exhale, lower back down. Now, for the fullest expression of this posture, we're going to inhale, lift the torso and the legs at the same time, reaching those fingers back toward the heels, reaching the heels toward the ceiling, shoulders shrugged down, long spine. Again, chin is tucked. You're looking at that mat right beneath the face here. Good. Feel yourself root down into the mat, bottoms of the ribs, stomach, pelvis, hip bones, all pressing into the mat here. Really working those back muscles, taking a nice deep inhale. Nice deep exhale. A deep inhale. And exhale. Let's go ahead and release back down. Great work. Hands beneath the shoulders. Go ahead and press yourself back into a child's pose here. Just a little counter posture to that locust pose. And again, if you'd like, you're welcome to gently rock your head from side to side. Stimulating that third chakra space, giving your neck a little bit of a release here, creating some ease in the forehead. Great work. Let's go ahead and inhale, come on up into center here. So we're going to come into cow face pose and do our eagle arms posture. So I'll turn at a little bit of an angle. So let's go ahead and start by bringing this right knee in front of us here. And we're going to scoop that right heel around to the left hip. Okay. We're then going to take this left leg, cross it over the right, stacking those knees as much as possible. So our feet are sticking out to the side here. Sides, outer blades of the feet are down on the mat. Now, notice if you're leaning off to the right, see if you can ground into that left hip, sitting nice and firm here. We're feeling that nice deep stretch in the left hip. Now we're going to counter what we're doing here. So arms come wide, and this time we're going to bring our right arm over the left. We're going to bend at the elbows and then continue to wrap those arms, bringing those palms to touch here. Back of the hands can be together if palms to touch is inaccessible for you. We're going to scoop our shoulders forwards, kind of squeezing our chest together, really feeling those shoulder blades open up here. And then if you'd like, bringing those thumbs or one of the thumbs to that third eye chakra space, gently touching it here. Good. Wherever you are, let's take a couple deep breaths. And if you'd like, you can stay here, or to deepen that posture in the hip, exhale, stay long through the spine, arms are right where they are, but start to hinge forward here. It's like we're tied up in knots. We're stretching ourselves out. Couple deep breaths. Final inhale. Exhale, tip back up. Let's go ahead and release those arms here. Great work. And then uncross those legs if you need. Maybe rock them from side to side for a little release, windshield wiper movement through those hips and the glutes here. And then we'll come on to that opposite side. So bring that left heel around to the right glute. That knee is right out in front of you. And then stack that right knee on top of the left here as much as possible. It doesn't have to be perfect, of course. Outer edges, those blades of the feet are down on the mat here. And notice if you're leaning to the left, see if you can root down into both hips. So we're really feeling that nice stretch through the right hip. Now, you can stay here, or if you'd like, eagle arms. Arms come out to a T. This time, exhale, left arm comes over the right, bend at the elbows, either hands to touch on the back or continue to wrap those arms around, palms to touch. Again, spread those shoulder blades wide as you push the elbows forward here, lifting them gently. And then again, bring that thumb or both thumbs to touch right on that third eye chakra space. Now you're welcome to remain right here for a couple breaths. Or if you'd like to deepen that stretch in that right hip, gently hinging at the hips, leaning forward. Your spine stays long. We're not bending the spine at all, but we're really hinging at the hips, bringing that weight forward to increase that stretch. So notice where you are, couple deep breaths. Good. Inhale to return to center. Gently uncross those arms, bring them down to your sides. Great. And then let's go ahead and uncross those legs, lean back onto the hands. Windshield wipe those knees back and forth for a little release here. Great. And then when you're ready, we're going to make our way down onto our back. So if you need to grab a drink of water, towel off, put on socks or a jacket for finer relaxation, now is your moment. We will not sit up for the rest of our practice, okay? So go ahead and come down onto your back. Let's tuck those knees into the chest, wrap the arms around the legs for a moment, give yourself a squeeze, maybe a little rock from side to side if that feels good. Of course, you can stay in stillness if that feels better. Great. And then go ahead and drop those soles of the feet down to the floor here. And we're going to make our way into our final relaxation. So a few options. You can stay here, soles of the feet on the floor, knees in little mountains. This is great if you have any kind of back injuries or just struggle with any kind of back pain. Next option, soles of the feet come together, knees fall out wide for recline down angle. You can extend one leg and keep the opposite leg in for fallen tree. You can extend that other leg for traditional final relaxation. Find a comfortable spot for your arms, totally up to you. You're also welcome to lay on your side or on your belly if that's more comfortable, or you can return to a seated posture for this final part of your practice. Notice what feels right for you. There's no wrong answer here. This is your final part of practice, so I welcome you to make it so. And as you settle in here, just taking a few deep breaths, inhaling and exhaling, allowing yourself to sink into the space that you're in, letting go of any holding, tension, anything else that is preventing you from coming into a state of ease. And then releasing control of the breath and just starting to notice that natural rhythm, that natural cadence it takes on. So noticing how fast or slow it is, how deep or shallow. Noticing the quality of each breath on the inhales, quality of each breath on the exhales. Feel into the torso as it rises and falls with the breath. And if your mind starts to wander off on a thinking adventure, it's okay. Just notice the moment you've gone away, celebrate the noticing, and then come back to your breath, come back to your inhales and exhales. If it feels right for you, perhaps reincorporating that mantra we used at the beginning of our practice. Inhale, I see life. Exhale for what it is. Inhale, I see life. Exhale for what it is. Remaining here with your breath in whatever way best supports you for just a few more moments today. I'm going to get quiet for this final part of practice so you can have it to yourself. Please know I'm watching the time and I respect yours, and I will let you out of this posture before the end of practice. So lean back, let go, and just rest right here. We practice to realize peace, happiness, and joy in our communities. Do whatever you can to bring happiness and well-being to the air, the water, the rocks, the trees, the birds, and the humans. Bringing your awareness back to this space. Taking a deep inhale through the nose, filling the belly, lungs, and chest with air. And then slowly exhale this breath back out. Take another deep inhale as you begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. Move your arms and legs, gently waking your body up. And when it feels right for you, rolling onto one side, pausing there with an arm or a hand beneath the head. It's here that I invite you to bring back to mind your intention or your purpose that you set at the beginning of your practice that answered the question, why did I get on my mat? Take a nice deep inhale here as you make your way on up into a seated position, and we close out our practice together today. So finding your comfortable seat, rooting into your sits bones, sitting out nice and tall. We inhale, draw the shoulders forward and up. Exhale them back and down. Finding a comfortable spot for the hands, whether on the knees, in the lap, or at heart center. Closing the eyes if that feels comfortable for you. We take a moment to express gratitude for yet another lovely day here on earth and for our bodies that allow us to do so many things, including yoga. Thank you so much for allowing me to guide you through this practice today. It was a joy and an honor, and I hope to be able to do so again in the future. The light in me, it sees the light in you. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me for this final third eye chakra class that's part of the Full Body Awakening series. I'm so glad that you are here. If you like the practice, please make sure to share it with a friend. That's how more people learn about my channel. And next week, we're moving on to the crown chakra. Woo! We're to the top of the chakra system. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have an amazing rest of your week, and I look forward to seeing you in the next practice. Bye.